Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is AutumnEmbersyt and today I am continuing my Dark Disney Princess series. So this is a series where I imagine the cute, adorable little princesses that we all know and love. What would their houses look like if they were creatures of the night? So I started off this series with Snow White because she was our first Disney princess, and I've gone through the line of Disney princesses and we are up to Mulan. And so for Mulan, I decided I will make her into a Wendigo. Now this Wendigo, I decided to go for the Wendigos that you see in Supernatural with Sam and Dean Winchester. I think they pop up in season 1 and season 1 only, I think. And basically, Wendigos in Supernatural are people who get lost, like real lost, and they're like, I'm really hungry, I need something to eat, otherwise I'm on my way out. And so they see another human being, and this human being looks like a McDonald's on legs. And so they eat another human being, and the more humans they eat, the less human they become. And so that's what I thought Mulan could be, because we all have our days where we're not doing our best, we have bad days, and this day was a very bad day. She was sent out on a mission and it was not going well for her. She got lost and she got hungry, and I just thought a Wendigo from the Supernatural verse suited her like character, kind of, sort of, really. So for this build, I took so long with this build. So I typically do my building in the evenings, and I spent an entire evening building something and deleting it, building it, deleting it, building it and deleting it. And I did that over and over and over again, and I was sat at this computer for a good few hours and I had nothing to show for it. And it was really annoying me. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave it, walk away, and I'm going to go to bed. And I'm going to come back to it in the morning, or whenever I do my next building session. And I was like, okay, next day is a nice new day. I was like, okay, let's just start off by drawing and stacking cubes and leaving some space for some, like, a balcony area and the roofing. And I knew I wanted to include a bridge in this build, so I was like, okay, let's now draw that out. And then I just started to draw some pop-ups here and there, and I developed this shape here and I was happy. And so I then went forward with the windows and the exterior wallpaper, and I was kind of going about this build in stages, because if I just sort of like all about everything that I needed to do, it would just became very overwhelming and confusing for me. Because on the one hand, this build needs to be influenced and inspired by Chinese architecture, and I'm not too familiar with Chinese architecture, so I did do a little research on Pinterest, and I could find some pictures but not many. And then on the other hand, I am making this for Wendigo, and so that means I will need to be stepping into the fantasy building realm. And then I'm making it for Mulan, which means I have to keep her at the forefront of my mind, making sure I'm putting down objects that you would associate with Mulan, so it looks like this is her home, this is where she lives. And then also at the same time, I want this place to look like it's part of a swamp, and I'm making like a tree house out of it, and it's at the bottom of a mountain. And so there's just so much going on. I'm just going, I don't know what I'm doing. So I did this in stages. I first built this trying to figure out the shape, how I wanted it to look like, whilst trying to keep in the forefront of my mind, I'm making this for Mulan, the Disney Mulan. And so I was trying to keep in the forefront of my mind of her colours that you would see in her outfit. So we have like a red, a blue, like a light green, and a yellowy green. And so that's what I was trying to keep at the forefront of my mind, knowing that the motifs or the whatever is synonymous when you think of Mulan would pop up in the interior. And when I think of Mulan, the first things that pop up for me are lily pads, lotus flower and blossom. So in the water area, I decided to put in some lily pads. I think those floating candles that I do put in later on, I haven't quite got to it yet, but I put in some like floating tea lights. And if you type in lotus, I think those floating tea lights, I think they pop up. I also popped down some skeletons. So the skeletons that you would see from Get to Work, I rotated them using the Twisted Mexi Tool mode because Sims, they're just food now. She would eat them, and then once she's eaten them, she would just toss them out the window. So I decided to put some skeletons into the water. I also used the Jungle Adventure bone pile. I dotted them in and around the water. A lot of them are like underwater, so if you would like to change the colour of the water, hopefully you would see lots of like piles of bones down there. But I also put some of them up top so you can see them. I also put down some of the paranormal hands because I looked up Wendigos. Because I don't really know much about Wendigos apart from what is said in the episode of Supernatural in which they pop up in. And apparently Wendigos are normally typically found in Minnesota / Canada, so she's real lost. But they also normally pop out you at like winter time. So I was like, okay, this build is going to be in the winter, it's going to be covered in snow. And so there was these paranormal hands, and I just thought, oh, what if like the Sims, as they're trying to get away, they get trapped in the icy cold water, and it's like their hands are frozen there. So I also put them down. Also I popped in some crocodiles. If the Wendigo's not going to get you, the crocodiles are. And in my mind, I built this with the thought that it's like an abandoned building and other people are lost. And instead of going hunting for your food, no, Mulan's going to wait happily in this build and let the Sims come towards her. And as they're sort of like going, oh, this looks nice, this looks like an abandoned building, I'm just going to pop in here. This like no one's housing it or like sitting living in it, so I'm just going to pop in here for some shelter to get a bit more warmer. It should be a bit more warmer inside. And whilst they're sort of like making themselves at home, she pounces them like on them, going, "Hi, it's me. I'm gonna eat you." So yeah, so that was my thinking behind this. She would live here, and she would use this place as a trap to trap her the unsuspecting Sims. They will come in here not knowing what lies in these walls and what is waiting for them. So yeah. Also, the colour of the water, normally I would not go for that colour. Water is very bright and vibrant, but I felt like with the fact that this build will be in the winter, it'll be covered in snow, I felt like the colour went quite well with the snowy landscape, and also it's that light green colour that you would also see in her outfit. So like I said, I was building this in stages. Once I got the shape that I liked and all the windows and all like the exterior wallpaper and all the details and everything, and made it kind of look, you know, it's just an abandoned build. And I was like, okay, what do I do to make it look like it's spooky? So I was like, well, I could just sort of like go to town on the vines and stuff like that. But I was like, nope, I've been there, I've done that, I don't want to do it again, because otherwise why am I making this? Why am I making like this series just to build a house and then cover it in vines? It doesn't make sense. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do for this build? I want to do something different that I haven't done before, and I typed into into Pinterest what I was looking for. I can't remember what it was, but I just remember going, this is not going to show anything up. Actually, something did pop up, and it was actually what I was looking for, and it had lots of these houses in like swampy area, which had lots of vines intertwining and tumbling down the build. And I was like, oh, I really want to do this for my build, but how do I translate this for The Sims 4? And the thing that popped into my head was a house from Luna Sheepfoot. You can find her on Instagram, and it was her build, the Dark Forest Tiny Town. And in her build, she had used these debug vampire logs, and she rotated them to make like a curve. And I was like, ooh, now that is something I could do myself in The Sims 4, because I have the Twisted Mexi Tool mod. And so I went ahead, I managed to get the curve going. It was just looking a bit chunky, and I was like, why is this looking chunky? There is just something wrong with this build and the being chunky. This build likes to be chunky. So I had a quick look at what it looks like, because I went to the gallery and I downloaded the build. So I had a quick look, just have a closer look at it, and I realised when she was going around the curve, she was scaling them down by like 2 units. I was like, ooh, okay. So I went back to this build, tried it out, like, okay, it looks less chunky now. Okay, this is looking good. Mine look a bit more scraggly looking compared to hers. She got hers to look very smooth, but to be honest with you, I wasn't too worried, because scraggly and spooky go hand in hand. And when I was doing this, I noticed Plumbob Kingdom, he also did something very similar, but with I think it's like the cottage living log with the little moss on it. And doing 1 or 2 of them is pretty simple. Once you've figured out how it's all done, it's quite simple to put together and do, and it doesn't take long to do. So, but I was doing like 3 trunks of like all these spindly wood bits, and I was also adding them to the living room area. And once you got like a whole pile of them to do, it takes so long to do. And I was getting to the point where I was starting to develop symptoms for repetitive strain injury. I was getting like a really achy wrist and shoulder, and normally I would just ignore it and just keep piling through, but the clue's in the name. If you keep going, it's going to get worse. So I had to stop, and that kept happening to me quite a few times as I was doing these spindly wood bits. So I definitely had to take a lot of breaks whilst doing them. I think it looks really good, and it definitely adds a different element that I haven't seen before, and I'm really happy with them at this flipping it. They took a heck of a long time to do, when you got lots of them to do. So when so we're now inside. So when I think of Mulan, I also think of Mishu. I think he's a lizard, dragon lizard. He had a bit of complex that he was in the natural dragon, but because we are going to the dark side, he's been upgraded to an actual dragon. We also have, well, I also think of crickets, because he has like a little cricket in a little, I don't know, basket? No, cage. It was a cage. We also have swords in here, and I was like, oh, I know, I could actually watch Mulan and do like some research there. So I looked in our DVD cabinet, and I was like, we must have it, because I think we have all of the Disney princess movies. I could not find Mulan, and I was like, what? I swear we had her. And we have like so many DVDs, they're like 2 rows deep. So I looked and I was like, oh, perhaps they're upstairs in my sister's bedroom. So I had a quick look over there, and I was like, I can't find it. It's either if my sister took it with her when she left, but I didn't know that my sister was so fond of Mulan that she would take it. It's either that, or it could be because, well, we just don't own it. But I swear we do. So it could be because I probably was, not looking hard enough, or because my mum works at school, she could have taken the DVDs in and then didn't take them back, because I swear we had the DVDs. But anyways, I went online onto YouTube to watch some Mulan clips, because to be honest with you, it's been a very long time since I watched Mulan and any Disney princess or Disney movie. I haven't watched in a very long time. And so I watched some clips on YouTube, and I was like, wow, she really loves the tea, while her father really loves the tea, because she always has the teapot in her hand. So I had lots of tea around the place. And here, I had so much fun doing the kitchen, because like I said, Mulan, she is a Wendigo. She eats other Sims, and so I thought I could add a little heart. So in the game, it's called an organ. Again, you can find it in the Get to Work expansion pack, and it's in debug. And I just put down like a machete and some wrapped up meat and another teapot, because like I said, she's always holding a teapot in her hand for her father. And also I added like a pile of bones there, so it looks like she's perhaps eating and prepping some Sims to eat. She doesn't, kill and eat them right there. She likes to enjoy her cooking a little bit. I do replace that book there, because I'm like, oh, I remember there's that book on it's like a recipe book stand, but in vampires. So it's a little bit more ornate. But that also has like a heart, and I was like, ooh, I could put that in. So it's like, this is the best recipe for hearts. So yeah, and also in my head, I imagined, just to lighten it up a little bit, once she's done cooking, she'll bring it to the dining table, tuck in like a napkin into her shirt, and with knives and forks, and dig in. So this is the dining room, and like I said, I didn't want to go full on vines, but I just wanted to put a few vines here and there on the exterior. And when I was doing that, I must have had the walls like half up, half down. I accidentally put some vines over some of the archways into the library, or the book nook, that we haven't done yet. I was like, oh, that looks quite nice. And I decided to add some to the dining room area to make it kind of look like it'd be hard to open up those doors because the vines are gripping them so hard. I also used the Twisted Mexi Tool to go around and knock over some of the bits of furniture. I decided to do that just before I would take the screenshots for this build, because I've done that before where I've knocked over like chairs and things with the Twisted Mexi Tool mod, and when I go back into the game would sometimes take away some of those objects. I was like, oh, for God's sake, it took me so long to fill all that out, I have to do it all over again. So I decided this time I've learnt my lesson. I'm going to do it just before I take the screenshots, so it's all ready to go. But I just realised I took the screenshots when the gallery was down, which means I gotta knock them all over again, because they're probably gonna take some of my chairs away. So I have to knock them all down again just so I can upload it to the gallery. Because I believe that the gallery's back up. Apparently some people are having issues. I haven't gone into the game yet, so I don't know. So yeah, so this is the library reading room. To be honest with you, I got inside and was like, what do I do with all this space? What room should this be? and I had a lot of problems trying to figure out what should I fill them up with. But I was like, let's just put some books in and some of these chairs and some of this and some of that. It will be fine. But I definitely built this with the exterior at the forefront of my mind, because like, oh, I'll be inside, I'll figure it out, I'll work it out, it'll be fine. And then when I got inside, I was like, this is too big, what do I do with all this space? So for this room here, when I was looking up online of like Mulan Disney clips, bear in mind I'm going for the animated version. I don't think I said that, I'm going for the animated version. So when in the animated version, there's this clip where she's pouring and prepping for the tea, and she's got like, I don't know, I can't remember, but she's got like cheats on her arm for like, there's like answers, she got all the answers on her arm. And so I thought, okay, let's just make this like a tea room. I looked some pictures up again on Pinterest, and I just basically typed in tea into the search bar, and I just popped everything that popped up when you type in tea. And so I popped into this room, and yeah. Oh, also, because apparently Wendigos are quite fast and quite large, I also put lots of claw marks. I used a picture from werewolves. I want to kind of look like she scratched it out, you know, she's angry. She did this to herself. She's now this monster creature thing that eats other Sims, so she's angry. So I put lots of like punch marks and scratches all over this build, which again came from werewolves. I've tipped this cabinet over. This is the Sugar Skull cabinet. I like this cabinet, but normally when you pull it out of the catalogue, it's quite small because they are housing the Sugar Skulls, and they themselves are quite small. So you scale it up using the bracket keys, and normally I would have problems when doing that, because normally I would be placing it on the second level, or the first level. So when you go into the ground level, the level that you enter into, you'll look up and you go, what's that? And you look up and it's the Sugar Skull cabinet poking through. And you lift it up and it's still there. It's like a weird glitchy shadow thing that happens. So normally I don't use it, but I had a quick look. I couldn't see any yellow Sugar Skull cabinet popping through. That would be a bit of a bummer, especially when I spent all that time rotating bits of twig, and then you just see cabinet. But this is Mulan's room, and I really like this room. So I just want to do something different, and so I came up with this. It's like a 4-poster canopy situation going on, and I'm using these Get Famous wooden slats or wooden beams, and I'm just scaling them down until they're really small, and I'm just using the 9 key to lift them up, and then I just put down the Desert Lux curtain rail just to finish it off. Again, I had to use all of that using a wall. So I decorated this entire place before I start recording, just to make sure, okay, I'm happy, let's go. So I'm not spending hours rotating like a nutter, giving you a headache. And just so I can quick the vision up a little bit, and I noticed I was having a lot of like problems trying to see what I was doing when I was making this bed, 4-poster bed frame. And so I decided, let's just show you guys what I'm doing with the front bit there. So these are the stores. So when I'm decorating these rooms, again, I'm trying to keep the Mulan colours at the forefront of my mind. So we do have plops of blue and the light green and yellowy green in here. I found that the packs that worked best, City Living Pack, the Island Living Pack, Paranormal Stuff Pack, and the Maximalism Kit Also the Courtyard Oasis kit also worked really well for this build, and I found myself gravitating towards those packs quite a lot. Also with the Jungle Venture pack, that was also another pack that I was gravitating towards when I was decorating this. I used a lot of werewolves because a lot of the werewolf stuff is very worn out and run down, and it looks like they've had a bit of rampage on them. So I used that a lot. And so for the next bedroom, I will be decorating it in a style, like I said, other Sims have come across this build. It's like, ooh, I'm gonna nip in here. It looks like it's abandoned, no one's living in it, so I'm just gonna nip in and just take a bit of a breather from the weather and bit shelter for myself. And they've noticed this room. It has a tent in it, lovely jubbly. It has like a bed in it. Can't quite get to it, but I'll take the tent. And it has like this camping stove with a fire pit underneath. I feel like Mulan would be a bit crafty and would fill that pot with non-edible things, or perhaps you'll be a bit cheeky and put in some of the bits she doesn't really want to eat from the oven and stick that in there. And so this is where she'll go, ooh, I think there's someone here, I'm gonna sneak up on them and eat them. So this is where she would lure them in, because the Sims will go, ooh, I can rest my head here. So this is where I'm going to leave you. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye.